Hey folks, welcome back to Indab Africa once more. This is Chris. Well, when you put yourself out there and you record videos in the interest of furthering discourse and understanding and learning for all, you can't help but attract a few detractors. While there's lots of lovely comments and complimentary things that are said overwhelmingly on videos that I've done, whether it's live streams or prepared videos on specific topics, it never ceases to amaze me some of the vile and disgusting and just comical things that people write in the comment section. What I also find comical is that people post nasty things, I think just so they can get a screen capture of the comment appearing on the video. And of course, what they don't realize is that YouTube generates email that comes to the content creator's mailbox, and so I can read that comment. So oftentimes what happens is for a video that some people find controversial, they simply don't like, oftentimes because they never even watched the video, they simply saw the title and made false inferences as to what the video was about or the content of it. They delete their comments before I have a chance to respond to it. So nonetheless, a few of these have come to my inbox, some of which people deleted. And I apologize in advance. There will be some profanity in this video, but I think in order to convey the actual meaning, as if you can divine what that is in some of these messages, I'm going to go ahead and read them as they're written. So hopefully you'll find this as entertaining as I do, and I'll comment a little as I go through this. Now, I've done two videos of late that have really seemed to set off the people who are intent on squelching dissent, discourse, and cogent conversation. And those two videos are There Are No Farm Murders in South Africa, President Cyril Ramaphosa, and Siya Kolisi and Cutting Up Your Springbok Jersey. Now, first off, I will say that I never said there are no farm murders in South Africa. That's ludicrous. There are farm murders all over the world. There's a rage of farm murders taking place in South Africa, and that, of course, is what Cyril Ramaphosa seeks to deny and mislead the world about. Case in point, his early 2018 interview with Bloomberg News in New York as he was there for the United Nations Summit. President Ramaphosa, in response to comments about tweets from President Donald Trump about farm murders in South Africa, said there are no farm murders in South Africa. No white farmers are murdered. This is utter nonsense, not even supported by data collected by the South African Police Service. The fact that he uttered this and thought he'd get away with it just shows how arrogant the African National Congress has become in its rule of South Africa, denying the facts. That video set off a number of very complimentary things, people from all walks of life, all races in South Africa, thanking me for what I've done and the comments I made. But that one and then the Siya Kolisi video in which I did not cut up my jerseys and I do not advocate. In fact, I call for just the opposite. I suggest that it's not a wise idea. And in fact, I even said it's dumb, stupid to cut up your Springbok jerseys, in my view. And I gave reasons why I thought that's not the right approach. I did comment on the things that Siya Kolisi said. No one accused me of misquoting him. They accused me of not understanding what Siya was up to or not being sympathetic or the usual sort of nonsense from people who assume that they can make inferences about you based on your appearance and or your skin pigmentation. So without any further ado, let me read some of these comments, and they go back a little ways, but these are just some of the gems I pulled out, and not even some of the most vile. But I think you might find some of these entertaining. So this comment on the there are no farm murders in South Africa, President Cyril Ramaphosa. That's a direct quote, by the way. This is from Adam Lowe, and he said, God bless you, Chris. Starts out really well. I thought it was going to be complimentary. God bless you, Chris. Every video you make further concretizes your legacy on the shitty side of history. Ooh, well, that's a bit biting. You're right about the climate of violence, but you seem cognitively dissonant in respect of why and how it came to be so, and indeed how your own YouTube brand, and he's got odd letters here, so I'm not sure what he's trying to spell, may be resultant of it. Keep demagoguing, though. We'll need these resources when future kids study the pathetic white men of the 21st century. Racist much? You're exemplary in such a regard. Hashtag stay scared and drink and bottle fucking bleach. Well, that's a lovely sentiment. Thank you so much, Adam, and your potty mouth, your bigotry, and your racism are patently obvious for the world to see. Interesting that you deleted this comment and it no longer exists on my channel. But I have the email and you did post this, whomever Adam Lowe is. Yes, notice how it attacks my skin pigmentation because he differs with my view about farm murders. And I wasn't talking about farm murders. If you watch the video, you brilliant genius. You'll notice that I talked about rural insecurity in South Africa. And I spoke up on behalf of all South Africans, something that really sets the left off. God forbid a white man be compassionate about anyone other than white men. And I've been consistent in my views on this for 40 years. And that's not something they can handle because it flies in the face of their lies. But thank you for your comments, Adam Lowe. Keep commenting, and we'll keep track of it. This from Zolani Shanga. Killings? Where? Come on, black people have no history of doing such. That's a lie. This is bullshit. I never said black people did the killings. What are you drinking, Solani? From the same video. Never said that black people were killing white people. I said that people were insecure in rural areas and farmers were being targeted and people were being murdered in the rural areas. Never said who did it. Clearly not watching the video, but thank you for playing along there, Zolani. Now on to the Sia Khaleesi comments. This one from Ahoyaman, interesting name. Ahoyaman, Chris Wyatt, snowflake. No, not a snowflake, flesh and blood, but thank you for your insulting comment there. I guess you can't handle a statement of fact and a little bit of opinion to go with it. This from Nico Kurt. Nico says, Chris Wyatt, missing the point, I think. You are missing the fact. Why use your army as an example? Your army has been seen as an invader force, killing innocent women and children, stealing oil and gas from other countries in the name of democracy, or like you say, freedom for the people. I don't recall saying freedom for the people, and I have been in these countries, and no oil and no gas came from them. So I don't know what Kool-Aid you're drinking there, Nico, but I'll continue. Funny enough, have you ever won a war? And don't come with World War II. Russia won that war for the world. What planet are you on? I do support the burning of that jersey because that emblem should not be part of this country. Go research the origin of that emblem. It was born out of hate for black people, and still black people in this country put it on with pride. That emblem is just as bad as the old apartheid flag. Do you get my point? I do get your point. You're an uninformed bigot. Absolutely. Thank you so much, Nico. I appreciate your biased, insulting, factually incorrect argument. But thank you for sharing and thank you for playing along. Appreciate it. Watch more videos and thank you for the rent-free existence in your head. This from Jackson Lucas. This is South Africa, not army. Every one, the number one, MST must, nay, don't know what that is, accommodate for fuck's sake. What? What are you trying to say, Jackson? I think what Jackson is trying to say is that my comparison to entering a different culture, in the case of my situation, joining the military and having to adapt to that culture and comparing that to Sia Khaleesi complaining about having to learn Afrikaans to do lineouts isn't germane. I think that's his point. He doesn't say that. I'm not so sure what accommodate for fuck's sake means. But anyway, whatever. Why doesn't Sia have to accommodate? Why does an organization have to change for Sia Khaleesi? And the next person that comes along, if that's a Venda person, do we accommodate for the Venda person? And another comment from Ahoyman, he came back again. Insecure bunch of snowflakes. Nah, still not a snowflake. All of you hating on Khaleesi. Did you watch the video, Ahoyman? There's no hating on Sia Khaleesi. I've been a longtime fan of Sia Khaleesi. I'm a Stormers fan. I applauded his selection as a Springbok because he was a talented player. He's gone downhill and he's lost a few steps after injuries and a little bit of age is catching up with him. But I still applauded his selection for the Springboks team that went to the Rugby World Cup and his selection as captain. So I don't know what you're talking about. There's no hating on Sia Khaleesi here. It's simply calling the man out for making patently misleading statements. Either he was lying for the last 18 months or he's misleading us now. Both can't be true. He said the team was unified. It was wonderful. They all work together. It's a sense of teamwork. And then he comes out and says he feels alien in the culture. And don't come back and tell me, no, he was talking about 16 years ago when he first started playing rugby. No, he clearly did this as an attempt to undermine the image of the Springboks. Why? One can only guess. Can a man not stand up for what is right? Right spelled R-I-T-E. Of course a man can stand up for what's right, but that's not Sia Khaleesi did. Black Lives Matter is not right. It's a black supremacy group intent on undermining Christianity, removing Jesus from the church, undermining the nuclear family, and a host of other things that are not in the norms of South Africa, the United States, or any other country around the world. Cut up All Black, England, Manu, Chelsea, NBA, NFL, NHL, and the list goes on and on. Cut up 100% of all sporting codes jerseys because they all support the BLM movement. Just because apartheid is gone doesn't mean racism is gone too. Well, Ahoy Ma, we agree on that. It's obvious that racism is not gone, and we see it in the policies of the African National Congress with its broad-based black economic empowerment, a policy that injures all South Africans by discriminating against minorities on the basis of their race, their skin pigmentation. Racism is alive and well. We see it in the comments and the vicious, vile things that Julius Malema, the economic freedom fighter, says, singing Kill the Boer, and then claiming that it's simply cultural. Threatening to cut the throat of whiteness in Nelson Mandela Bay to oust Athol Trollip, a proficient and effective mayor, despite the ramblings of the EFF. Racism is alive and well in South Africa. But the thing is, I don't really think the people that are doing it are truly racist in this case. I think they're just using it as an excuse. But the fact that they're doing it makes it racist. This from Warwick Anderson. Don't think you get it, mate, but everyone's entitled to their opinion. Well, you're right, Warwick. Everyone is entitled to their opinion, as are you. And I do get it. And hence the reason I made the video. That just because Sia Khaleesi said some things that people found offensive, and he said them in a fashion that was intentionally meant to confuse and mislead people, and I think he did it to exploit the opportunity to make money, but I have no evidence of that other than a few minor things. But that's my view, and that's my opinion, and I do get it. So I don't think you get that I get it. And this from Ralph Satsich, Chris Wyatt, and you seem to be lost. Focus on shit a little closer to home. Let us worry about our Sia. No, I'll focus on what Sia Khaleesi said because it's caustic for the integrity of the Springboks team. If he has something legitimate to complain about, then he should do it to Saru and the Springboks. If he doesn't get action in a reasonable, timely fashion, then go to the press about it and tell people about it. Don't make a video and complain about things in which you are complaining victimhood after having the luxury of attending posh schools, courtesy of someone else's dime, lifting you out of poverty and opening up a world to you that most of us have never had the opportunity to see. And this one from Angie Maddox. You are going through a lot of lengths to downplay or diminish the claims of people that stands up for inequality that they live through and you know nothing about. Well, the fact, Miss Maddox, that you make the blatant statement that I know nothing about discrimination or inequality shows you are obviously bigoted. And I'm not going to call you something else, but obviously you're making the statement because you're assuming and inferring things about me that simply you don't know about. You know nothing about me. You know nothing about my upbringing, the struggles I may or may not have gone through, the poverty I lived in or may not have lived in. You know nothing about me. You're making assumptions and making a statement based on nothing but your conjecture. And I'll inform you, Miss Maddox, your conjecture is patently false. You're poorly informed, and you're showing it with your statement. Now, finally, this comment from the special feature live stream I had with Phil Craig from the Cape Independence Advocacy Group over a month ago. Phil was a guest on my program. And famously, we saw on Twitter recently where someone stole my content by downloading that video and stealing the first 2 minutes and 20 seconds in which I discussed the speaker by reading a bio about him and then posting and read that. And then they got through me reading that and then posted that on a site, some black nationalist based on his profile, and then linking me to Helen Zilla and talking about the IRR and their cadre of podcasters. Well, it's not a podcast. It's a vlog, if anything. It's a live stream interview on YouTube, so it's not a podcast. So get your terminology right. And I have nothing to do with the Institute for Race Relations, the Democratic Alliance, or South Africa. I'm not even South African. So these people stealing content and posting it. So this is from that interview. And this one I felt was kind of funny. This is from Black Molasses. Black Molasses says, laughing my ass off. Well, thank you, Black Molasses. Why are you laughing your ass off? Because you didn't agree with Phil? If you didn't agree with Phil, then how about adding something substantive to your commentary so that we know what it is you disagree with? Instead of just being insulting. You're being insulting there, intentionally insulting. Anyway, folks, thanks for tuning in. Thank you for your comments. All these folks who seek to denigrate and diminish, it's okay. Here at Indaba Africa, we'll keep producing videos, raising facts, figures, and alarming folks about issues and talking about strategic issues for the continent of Africa across the year and into the future. And that's what we'll do here. And I thank you all so much for paying attention. I hope you found this interesting. I know I did. I found it quite entertaining to read some of these comments. Also, I think some folks need to spend a little bit of time using spell check and or maybe not do this on their mobile and switch to a different device. Anyway, folks, thanks for tuning in, and I hope you enjoy living rent-free in their heads. Thank you guys so much for the free rent space. I really appreciate it. Here at the end of the month, it's time for people to pay their mortgages and rents, and I see that I'm living rent-free in your cranium. Thank you so much for that. God bless, and take care, everybody.